Hi everybody, Andrew here, and this is a video on the 8x8.com site. It's where we configure our hosted PBX system, and it's also where we go to get the invoices for billing. So the thing that we do most often in here is go get the invoices for billing, so that's what I'll look at first. And then secondly, probably the second most common thing we do is we change the outgoing message for the phone system because we get a new employee or there's a snowstorm or something like that. So I'll show you how to do that. And then I'll show you basically all the other technical configuration that we do in here. Okay, so the first thing here is that I'm at 8x8.com and then I want to go to Login Account Manager. All right, and then it's going to ask me for an ID and password. This is actually not the ID you want to use. You want to use Wellspring Church. I'm not going to say what the password is here. You're going to have to look that up in the document. Okay, and when that's done logging in, it brings you here to Account Manager. And then here's the billing summary. You just click here on View Statements. Wait a little bit. And then that comes up. And usually the one on the top by the time you get the credit card statement is the one you want, so you just click View. But I'm going to look at the previous one because it's not time for that yet. And then when that comes up, you can just print this as is. You really only need the first page of it. It goes on for many pages, but all the information you need is on the first page. So you can just print that, print the first page. Okay, so you know how to print stuff, so I won't show that. Okay, from here, the Account Manager, you can click Home to go back to the Account Manager Home from the View Statements part of Account Manager. And so I said the second thing we're going to look at is the auto attendant messages, and that you go to Set Up Features here for that. I'll wait for that to load. And then here's the auto attendant here, and click Manage. Now, this is actually a tricky thing. You see here we have the profile one, and then we have copies of it. You can make a backup of this right here by copy of profile, and that is advisable to do every time you change anything about the auto attendant. But I'm not going to bother doing that right now. We do have two backups right now, and they're pretty much the same. So what you actually do is you turn off the auto attendant. And that does mean that while you're doing this, there is no auto attendant. So you want to be pretty quick. But you turn off the auto attendant. Takes a little bit. And then you want to go in and edit it. And that takes a little bit. Now I am going to assume you've already actually recorded the message that you're trying to upload. And by the way, you want it to be a .mp3. The M4A format from your phone voice recorder will not do. It will not accept it. And just so you know that the hours of operation are actually set up in here, we have only defined business hours, and the whole menu for the auto attendant is in here for that. It's the same for business and after hours. We defined as little as we could. So anyway, underneath both of them, you have this list of recordings. If, for example, you just had like a snowstorm or whatever, or in this case, Leif Hetland was canceled, all you need to do is click back on Main Menu and then Save. And then do the same thing down here for after hours. Click on Main Menu and then Save down here in the bottom. You can't see that, so Save at the bottom. And then go back and then turn on the profile again. And then test it. Dial into 2250661 and listen to the auto attendant. Or if you're actually at the church, you can just dial 444 for the auto attendant, and you'll hear it. And that way you won't bother Debbie or whoever's on reception. So if you actually have a new message that you want to put up, you click here at Upload Recording. Then you add it, and then you click Upload, and then you click I agree. Make sure that this recording is active is already selected. You have to actually upload it for both menus separately. Okay, so once you've uploaded both of these, like this LAIF, it's going to change it to a .au file, even though you uploaded an MP3 file. But you definitely want to use an MP3 file. They give a list of what they support on the upload screen itself. Then you do this save down here. Save. But I'm just going to cancel because I didn't do anything. And then here, you turn it back on. And now it's back on with your changes. As you can see here, 444 is the auto attendant extension. So you can test. Okay, so now I'm going to click on home again to get back. And probably the next most frequent thing is resetting someone's virtual office password so they can use the app on their phone. That is also, I believe, under setup features, but I'm not sure, so let me go look. Yes, it is. So let's click on setup features, and then down here we have the virtual office online profiles. Click manage to get into there. And that'll give you a list of all the people who have accounts. Each account has a first and last name and an email address. The email address is important because that's where it's actually going to send the reset password. So if I were to click on reset password for myself, it would send me an email to there, and that's how it actually happens. Like most good systems, I can't find out what someone's password is. If they need a new password, you just send them a new reset password. With this system, it's actually pretty secure. It only lasts for 24 hours. It actually might be less than that. So they need to be ready to get the email and respond to it when they request this. And then they should immediately put it into their app so they don't forget it. All right, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, so we'll go back home. All right, now we're going to go into setup features, and we're going to spend the rest of the time in there. Okay, so let's just take an overview here of what's in here. Number transfer, I've never done anything with that. Extensions, that's where a lot of work is done. We just looked at virtual office. Shared lines we used to use, but we don't anymore. Everybody has their own line. And just by the way, we save hundreds of dollars a month by using pay by the minute on our lines rather than paying for dedicated shared lines or dedicated lines per phone. You'd think that by setting a fixed price, you'd cap the usage, but even with international calls, we spend hundreds less per month. It's way better. Ring groups is important. That's how reception is done, where multiple phones ring for an incoming call. Auto attendant we just looked at. Virtual numbers we don't do anything with. Music on hold, if you ever do want to change the hold music, that's where you do it. So let's take a look in extensions first. So if you ever add a phone to the system, this is where you're going to do it, and you're going to need activation codes and all that stuff. I can't really demonstrate that for you because I'm not doing that. It's also a little time consuming. You wouldn't want to wait around for that in the video. Really, when you need to do this, you should call them at their support number, and I'll talk to you about calling their support at the end of the video. But what is really useful here is you can actually see not just people's extensions, but their direct phone number. We don't give out these direct phone numbers on the website, but if people want to give them to people so they can bypass reception, they can. So we just privately give these numbers out and let people do with them as they will, but we just don't publish them publicly. The other thing that's in here is the fax, the information about the fax number. So if you ever forget the fax number, here it is, and that's its extension. There's really nothing else to do in here if you're not setting up a new extension or changing who's at an extension because you get a new employee and you want them to take their extension. So next we're going to look at ring groups. So click Manage to go into there. Our ring group is 2001. I actually don't know why we have a 2002 in here. I didn't create it. But 2001, you can see it has Pam, 120, which is on Debbie's desk, Tori, and Chris Ann. So you can change who receives the incoming rings for reception. Okay, next, when I leave, you're going to want to change the credit card that's used. So if you go to billing, oops, let me click on that. Here you have update payment billing info, so that's where you want to do that. Okay, next I said I was going to talk about calling their support. They're going to ask you for a passphrase. Now, I'm not going to show you our passphrase in this video, but if you've logged into here, if you click on Edit My Profile, it will show you over here the passphrase. They're going to ask for that anytime you call support. At some point, you're going to have to ask them to use a different account other than andrew@wellspring.net. I don't know how to do that because that's what we've had the whole time. You really want to talk their support. Okay, so next, so contacting their support. Once you log in, you can click on the support here, and then they're going to give you different options. Actually, they're going to give you this automatic information here that never told me anything. And then over here on the right, you can do a chat now. They're fairly quick on that. Or you can call here, and you got to go through a series of button presses to get to the support. And again, it takes a while to get them if you call, but they will stick with you until the whole thing's resolved. They'll stick with you for hours. That's why it takes a while to get them. But I've never had to wait more than a half hour to get them. But when I really need their help, it's well worth it, and we pay for it, so might as well use it. Okay, well that's all I'm going to go over for this, and that's it for the 8x8 phones, or IP phones. If you have any questions, let me know. God bless.